This is Lieutenant Wendy Carpenter-Graff with New Mexico State Police, and today we're going to take a look at some videos that describe unsecure loads, things that really shouldn't be appropriate on the roadway with traffic conditions, the amount of vehicles that are on the roadway, and the type of vehicles that are carrying these loads. Hopefully you can learn from this video and understand what we go through every day trying to pull these people over, get them citations, because only behavior that's corrected will be corrected. So while he's backing up, there he goes, almost hits a vehicle to pick up his load that was unsecured. Gets out of the vehicle, tries to pick up the lumber that he dropped. Still not close enough to pick up the lumber with no one assisting him. And now he's parked directly over the lumber, so it'll be harder to put the lumber back in the truck. This isn't a street that's not Kendall area. A lot of traffic. Very unsafe. You got a stack of lumber, some equipment in the middle of the intersection. The driver backs up to try and pick it up with no assistance. There's vehicles driving right by him, watching him back up, and they're still going through the intersection. So ideally, because it's a red light, green light situation and traffic's coming fast, you want to maybe move out of the way. And your truck is large, but still people are going to be traveling at a high rate of speed. They may not see it. There might be a vehicle to the right and a vehicle to the left, so it would obscure their vision when they're coming to that intersection. So you're better off to clear the intersection. They can run over lumber or they can run into it, but if they run over you or they hit your vehicle, it's going to be a larger impact. So you want to move out of the intersection. So after you've moved out of the intersection, see if you can get a hold of a few people, call to see if you can get assistance from the police or even road construction in the nearby area. And that way people can stop, direct traffic, you can have someone assist you to at least move it off to the shoulder. So this actually looks relatively safe. He has several tie downs on it. It's all spread out like you should for a load. It's forced down, it's tied down. The straps are tight. You can see the ratchet or the bucket ratch. That's tightened down, and then the strap that's left over is secured so it's not flying around. He's driving in the far right lane, which is what you should always do with a load like that. And he's driving, obviously, the speed limit or lower because everyone is passing him. So it looks like he's doing a good job. He tied it down sufficiently for that type. It's not a real heavy load, it's cardboard boxes. So he did a good job. In this reference, it's a bad job. First of all, you have the doors. You never want to put a tie down for luggage because luggage is heavy. Very seldom do we have luggage that's not heavy. You put it on the top, which is the correct manner, but when you tie it down, you're not supposed to tie it down around the whole vehicle where the doors are. Mainly because you're going to open the doors, or you may need to exit the vehicle if there's a crash or something happens on the roadway. You have to get out of the vehicle in a hurry. Second of all, it looks like one of the tie downs has a tie, so it broke at some point. So evidently they're not as strong as you think they are. And when you have a luggage rack is meant to tie things down to the luggage rack, not the vehicle itself. So that's a bad idea of how you should pack your luggage. I would stop them and I would assist them in putting the straps a different way. I wouldn't necessarily give them a citation because some people just don't understand. They're not commercial, so they're not taught the correct manner, way that they should tie down equipment. These are civilians, they're in a personal vehicle, so they may not know how to tie something down, so I would assist them and show them how to do it the correct manner. Yeah, this is great. This is definitely Albuquerque, New Mexico. One strap, it's not even tied down correctly, it's just to the beds itself and not to the vehicle. It's also different sizes, different shapes. It's not commercial, so they may not necessarily know how to tie this down, but it's never going to stay. Reason being is there's small mattresses, then large mattresses, and then a chair with one strap. So you have, in order to tie something down correctly, if you have different sizes and shapes, you have to do the horizontal and vertical straps. That way you're making sure that it's not going to shift a different direction. You have it tied down in both directions, so it's not going to move. Above the bed of the vehicle, no matter what the weight, if you put something on top that's heavier than something on bottom, it's still going to fall over because it's above the bed of the vehicle. It's going to take up air while you're traveling, so it's going to make it more, it's going to move. Plus you have something on the bottom that's smaller, so it has that chance to move back and forth. So in the state of New Mexico, we have a height and weight limitations, but in this circumstance, when you are using anything inside the back of a pickup truck, something like that, we're going to pull you over if it's higher than 3 or 4 feet above that pickup truck, because we're going to measure it and we're going to see, are you in excess of the height limit? It depends on the type of vehicle and the height. That's really cute. And that's tied down incorrectly because it's moving. This is a lowboy. The trailer is called a lowboy, and they're designed for heavyweight vehicles. Anything that's super large and heavy because of the axles, the weight of the axles, the amount of the axles, the tires, the design of the vehicle. It's meant for heavy tractors. So they got a little tiny toy tractor secured there, but it's loose. So I would have pulled him over.
Really?
Heck yeah, that's the best one to pull over. He would laugh that I pulled him over. I would tease him with. So, this is what you call an unsafe vehicle. We can pull a vehicle over for unsafe. First of all, he has his jacket, his safety vest, hooked up to the back. That's not acceptable. It has to be the red flag. Second of all, it looks like it's more than 7 feet, and that's a violation. In the state of New Mexico, more than 7 feet, you're going to get a citation. Third of all, he has not enough straps. Those straps look like 1/4 inch, so those aren't sufficient for that load. They're not tied down sufficiently. He would at least need 6 straps, because on the front of that, you can use that as a bracing, but he doesn't have enough in there, and it's not proportioned correctly, so he doesn't have it tied down correctly. So he would get a ticket for an unsecured load, minimum. And then he would get a ticket for not flags properly. Then he would get a citation for the red flag. And if it's longer than 7 feet, I'd want to see, is he commercial or is he personal? If he's commercial, then he needs to have that oversized, over length permit. I've seen as small as a 5-inch piece of lead fall off the back of a vehicle and hit another vehicle and right into the driver's view and hit him in the head. Went through the window and hit him in the head. So that right there, that's why we're after unsecured loads, because things that fall off can hit someone. Say, for instance, you're a motorcycle rider right behind it and it hits you. It's probably going to knock you off or knock you out of the motorcycle. So that's probably not a good idea. Most people, when they see something flying, they'll try and swerve, and that could cause a crash. He could drop that whole load off of there and cause multiple vehicles in the crash, possibly a fatal. So this vehicle's driving, and he's got several different items. Looks like it's a landscaper company, and some of his debris is flying off, and it's leaves and looks like maybe straw grass. He has a lot of smaller equipment like rakes and things. It looks like those are kind of secure. The leaves are not necessarily something that we look at, anything that's light like that. If it's not causing someone to blur their vision in the vehicle behind them, not necessarily called a secure load because there's not a large amount of it. He's not transporting and it's blowing everywhere in everyone's view. It's kind of secure because it's lower. Some of it is tied down in the bushel. Some of it's not. It's just sitting in a bucket. Not necessarily something that's critical. So if this is trash can blow and obscure someone's vision. Trash can, a number of it can come off and cause a vehicle crash.
This one.
Also, if it's trash and for instance, someone was smoking a cigarette or it's ashes from someone's fireplace and it's blowing out in the wind, in this time of year, it's extremely dangerous. It can start a forest fire. So that would be considered an unsecured load. They didn't secure the items in the trailer, and it's supposed to be tarped. In New Mexico, it's a $168 ticket for the state. Some cities and towns and villages have a little higher payment, but it's $168 for not securing your load. And the tarp is mandatory if this is something that's going to fly out and cause a crash. It can cause litter. It's a $300 fine, and then we can charge them with the $168 unsecured load too. It's an enormous amount, especially in the springtime, because people are going to the dump. People are cleaning up their yards, the trash trucks, sometimes it comes off of the trash truck. So it's flying off, it's going off to the edges of the interstates, it's on the streets, it's mainly in the intersections. It'll go to the curbs, and it'll sit there and it goes to the drains, which causes even more problems. So it is a huge problem that people aren't securing their load. If they were just to put a tarp on it, you probably wouldn't have that many issues. All right, so I see officers on scene already trying to help, but looks like it's lumber for a construction company, because it's brand new lumber. You can see it's all brand new, and it's heavy lumber. And that is a lot of lumber. Took a lot of people to load it up. So that's the size of trailer it was in. That's way too small for that amount of lumber. It exceeded the gross vehicle weight rating of that trailer probably 3 times, 4 times at least. I wouldn't know, but it looks like it's just a 2-axle trailer, so it's not meant for that much weight. And it looks like it only has 1 strap. I don't see another strap there. That's really bad. I'm surprised they didn't kill someone on this. Yeah, just because something fits in the back of a trailer or the back of your pickup truck doesn't mean that your vehicle or your trailer is equipped or designed to carry that weight. When it fails on the freeway, it is a nightmare. It's not just for people driving on the freeway. You have to call out, as you can see, 3 DOT trucks. You probably had to have several officers. It congested traffic. It impacts the whole community when you have something like that. I've seen enough crashes in my career to where it affects people. I see how it affects people. I see how it affects the city, the state, economically, individually. We've seen a lot of people killed in the roadway from unsecured loads. That's why. We do it because we're protecting the public. We want to make sure the public is safe on the highways, the roads, and the streets, and that they aren't impacted by someone neglecting to be careful. We don't pull people over for just no reason. We're pulling them over for the safety of the public. We want to make sure you're all okay. I always tell the drivers, I have your safety in mind as well as mine and everyone else in the public. We want you to do the right thing. More people do the right thing, the less crashes we have, and that's the impact we want to have on the public.